Hey, folks, welcome to a little Wednesday night chat here from Studio B. I'm joined by my friend Ray down in Connecticut. Ray, hello.
What's going on, Dave?
I'm just trying to deal with the craziness that is life right now. Uh,
Are
Pretty
you ta-
surreal times.
are you talking about coronavirus? Or are we talking about Tom Brady leaving New England? Which one are we talking about?
It's
Because I think it's all
everything.
crazy,
I
right?
mean, there's a little bit of everything. So just got a little Wednesday night chat here going on. But Tom Brady to Tampa Bay, and we're talking
Yeah,
about what things are you doing to stay sane. What's everybody doing here with the craziness? I mean, every time, they just shut down the malls tonight. That's the newest thing. And they said, okay, we're going to close down, the malls up here. So that's going. So one by one, things keep closing, and I'm just waiting to hear if the news gets better. And that's my concern, is that it's not getting better. And my bigger concern is, the longer this goes, how many businesses are going to suffer and not open their doors again.
yeah, there's a quite a bit to it. I think ultimately the driving factor is the three words that you and I keep repeating. On air, off air, whatnot. Is I don't know. And a lot of people are in that same boat of just I don't know. This is unprecedented, in modern times. You're talking about stores reopening. I think part of this will also be a test to brick and mortar as more of these brick and mortar locations close. This is a real test to see what online sales does for them. For people that do have money that actually can spend it, do these brick and mortar locations survive, or do these companies decide, hey, we may not need a brick and mortar location, and that online sales is where it's at. So it's very unsettling times for people who have jobs in brick and mortar locations, people in sales, myself included. It's been very trying time and very worrisome. Um, but you hope that things come through, and we'll have to see how it all sorts out. The I don't know makes it very tough.
Yeah, no, it does. So I'm asking the question here to anybody that's watching us now, and even you, Ray. What things are you doing to stay sane? I mean, some people. I mean, I'm holed up in my house here for the next week. I was actually going to get down to the skate park and skate around, but I heard that they're closing all the parks now. So I don't know if I'm going to get rounded up and thrown in jail if I put on my rollerblades and get down to the park. That I don't know, but I mean, it seems like every day they keep shrinking the window, and it's basically like, just stay in your house until we tell you
Yeah,
to come out, and that's the tough thing.
yeah, it is tough. I mean, my job is traveling sales. I have a pretty sizable territory. I've been out the last couple days, and I'll be honest, it's even tough with that. You go to a customer site, and it's almost like you shouldn't be there. Like almost like they're like, what are you doing out? Well, part of that, keeping sane or whatnot is also we got to keep some form of normalcy going
Right.
too, and I work in the trucking industry, which is vital to things moving forward. The trucks have got to roll down the road to bring supplies, to bring the supply chain moving forward. So as much as you want to try to bring normalcy, it's tough. And for people that are trapped at home or working from home, where there's trapped in the same environment, it definitely is tough. But I would say there's far thing. I guess the thing is to remember that there's far more tougher things, like people getting sick and dying and whatnot. And you just try to put it all in perspective, I guess, and try to
Right.
ride on that for a while.
Just want to say hi to Dale and Ken, who chimed in on the chat room over here. Hello, guys. Just kind of sitting here chatting tonight. So yeah, myself, I mean, I'm stuck here. You know what I mean? I'm in the house, and I'm just trying to play some games or walk the dog, as much as I can. And tonight I actually set up on the dining room table and played a couple of this hockey game I got that you play on the tabletop, and I played the 1972 Summit Series with Team Canada and Team Russia. And I had a couple of really fun games tonight, and so I got all the stats. So I think I'll compile all those stats and I'll post them on Facebook somewhere with my results for the first couple of games. And that's what I've been doing. Is I've been just playing a couple of games. I'm catching up on some shows. I finished watching Hunters on Amazon, which is not the show you want to watch when you're going through a depressing time like this, but I did finish that. I want to go back and finish watching Man in the High Castle on Amazon. I got through season 1, part of season 2.
You're hitting all of those, aren't you?
I'm hitting all the stuff that you shouldn't be watching during a time like this. I get, hey, Dave Little's in the chat room. Hi, Dave. We're just doing a quick Wednesday night chat here. Me and my friend Ray from Connecticut, just kind of talking about things in general, talking about what we're doing to keep us sane during this time here. And so I've been just walking the dog. I've been playing a couple of games. I keep saying I'm going to, do some cleanup around here, or, go through some closets and stuff. And it's just at some point I will. It's just the other thing is, though, when something like this, even though I have the time, because I'm off through Sunday anyway, I really don't have anything to do until Sunday when I find out if the rink's going to open, and I doubt it will. But you would think that you have all this time, and it's like, hey, this is great. I'm going to go do all these things, but there's that cloud hanging over your head of what's going on, and it's very depressing, especially if you're sitting in the house. And so I don't have that pep and that vigor, to go and do all these things that I would if it's like, hey, the rink's gonna close for 2 weeks, so we'll see you in 2 weeks. Then at least so I got to use these 2 weeks wisely. Right. But with everything being so unknown, it's So I mean, I got to be in the mood to go do these fun things. And, and it's not like I can go to the movies. It's not like I can go out to dinner. It's like, I need to kind of kick around the house here. And that's what I need to do.
Yeah. And, but I do, you share online quite a bit about your walks, which is definitely a good thing and something I should be doing far more of. That's definitely good for both, mind, body, soul kind of thing where, getting out some breathing some fresh air. If the weather would cooperate with us a little bit, that would definitely help as well. So it's again, it's just trying to find that normalcy, trying to find some things that, you can build a little routine around and kind of keep your mind off it a bit.
Yeah, so that's the big thing, is trying to do some of that stuff there. Hi to Bill, who just jumped into the chat room. And let's talk about this real quick, Ray. So, I mean, there was one big sporting news event with nothing going on in sports right now except for the Iditarod. This dropped the other day. Tom Brady to Tampa Bay. Even if you're not a New England fan, even if you're not a Brady fan, this is a big deal, to the sports world. And some people up here were like, why is Brady dropping this now when we're all on like a lockdown in our house? And it's like, well, here's the thing. March 18th, that was the day. We all knew for the last 3 or 4 months that March 18th was D-Day. And who would have known months ago that we'd have this virus spreading around or whatever? But that was the day, come hell or high water. And that's what we've got. We've got both right now, hell and high water. But he, what's he going to do? Say, well, I'm not going to let you know. Well, he has to. He has to say something. And now they're talking about Tampa Bay. And it's like, boy, that was unexpected.
Right. And, well, again, about him announcing it, it's business, right? And it comes down to it. He's, moving on, new contract, new, hopefully NFL season starts on time, and they're able to, we get beyond that. That'd be good for all of us that the NFL season starts on time.
And Ruppy Haley chiming in. I haven't talked to Ruppy in quite some time. Ruppy has 2 puppies now, by the way, Ray.
Oh, is that right? 2 puppy for Ruppy. Nice.
He was, yeah. 2 puppies for Ruppy. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was your broadcast brother for many, many years there. And
it was a quick funny story. We have one of the guys from the Hartford Fire Ants that's playing in my league right now, and he dug up an old audio file of me and Ruppy doing play-by-play for him. And they put it on. It was on YouTube probably 8 or 9 years ago. They took this clip and they put some pictures to it, and it's just a funny audio clip of this guy playing hockey. And it was me and Ruppy doing the play-by-play. It was like, wow, that was a blast from the past.
Yeah, that's great. I remember joining you guys in Holbrook and kind of helping you on technical end and camera and whatnot when you first were doing the Ratcast and whatnot. So yeah.
So, Ruppy says he's just got the one dog now. I guess. So that's too bad that the other dog didn't accept him. I'm sorry, Rob. That happens. We get two dogs, and we got one that's a basset, and he fights all the time. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, yeah. So let me just talk a little bit about the Tom Brady thing. We try to lighten the mood a
Yeah.
little bit here. So while
Right.
we're talking about Tom Brady, we welcome your thoughts about Tom Brady. We also want to know what things are you doing to stay sane? I mean, depending where you are, some places you're not supposed to leave your house. Other places you probably can, but you're limited to what you can do. So yeah, tell us what are you doing to stay sane right now? But getting back to TB12 to TB. Boy, I tell you, I'm kind of split on it. I think he did his time, and I think he did his time well. 9 Super Bowls, 6 Super Bowl wins. You just can't argue with that at all. He's probably the best player, at least stat wise, with that to have a play. He gave us 20 solid years in New England. He took a lot of pay cuts. He took one for the team, so to speak. And now I don't think he wants to do it the Belichick way anymore. I think Belichick drives his people hard. That's why he has success, and I think he's okay not doing that. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. Absolutely. And you think about just what New England had 20 years of one quarterback, it's like, just be thankful. I mean, most careers don't last that long. You look at other comparable quarterbacks and the length of career that they've had, that you're fortunate you've had 20 years. And I've kind of made some light jokes on my Facebook page. I about dip my toes and barely get my toenails wet in the football realm, but I had to turn it on. So it was compelling for me, at least driving around. I was in the Rhode Island area. I threw on WEI because I just had to hear what it sounded like, right? What does it sound like? And it sounded like a funeral for quite a while and whatnot. And, and having somebody that brought you that much success on a team and brought, a load of other things to the area, and, the house that Brady built kind of thing up in New England, kind of, well, what if he retired? You'd still kind of be in that same boat.
Right. Yeah, you would.
And by rights, by comparison to many quarterbacks, he probably should, he would have retired 2-3 years ago, or maybe even sooner. So I guess you just gotta, as much as just with everything going on, try to find the positive to it, that you've had such a long period. And the fact that he can still put, numbers up in his early 40s is incredible. Definitely beyond the norm. And, you could what if it all day long, but ultimately he's down in Tampa now. And that's,
did that go through? Was that officially signed?
I mean, if it's not official, I mean, it seems like it would be, crazy if it didn't go. I mean,
yeah, I heard it was all but done, but they haven't officially done it. Yeah, going back to the chat room here, Bill says he's out in Colorado and he had a great weather for hikes today. Now he's got a foot of snow coming, and yeah, we're supposed to get a little bit of wet snow tomorrow ourselves, so won't be walking the dog tomorrow. If I go out myself, it'll be with me. Dave Little in the chat says, not a Brady fan, but he's earned his right to do what he wants. Yeah, that's how I feel. I mean, he doesn't want to take a pay cut. Fine, go play somewhere else. Maybe have a couple of years. Do things a little different. Mix it up. Play for a different coach. Maybe get more input. I think, I do have the Buccaneer pennant in the background. I do. I get my actually next to it is the AFC Champions pennant. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe I can zoom in on me here so you can see the over here. I got the 1986 Super Bowl AFC champs right there as well. So I picked that up on eBay the other day, the AFC Champs one. So yeah, I got my Buccaneers up, I got my Patriots up there, my Bruins shirt. I got a whole bunch of stuff going on in the background here. But yeah, no, he earned his right to do what he wants to do. So if he wants to, I don't want to say not work as hard, because that's not the right way to put it. And I don't think he would work any less. But I imagine, because there's so many players that went in and out of New England that said it was just too difficult of a system, and it was all about work, and it was just no fun. And I mean, I guess if you win the Super Bowl, it's all worth it. But if you don't, so some people might not want to take it that serious. And and I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just, there's, that's the top of the line right there.
Maybe play with the chains off kind of thing.
A little more loosey goosey. I'm 43. Maybe I don't want to be at the field at 4:30 in the morning every day all week long. Maybe I want to spend a day with my family. Maybe I just want to have more fun than it is work. I've accomplished everything there is to accomplish. And so, maybe that's what he's thinking there. And up here, I think it's kind of split 33% are mad at him and calling him a traitor, and I think 66% up here are saying, "Yep, you earned that right. Go where you want. They're not going to pay you. They don't want you. That's fine." Nobody thinks he's being greedy at this point because he's done the right thing for 20 years.
Yeah, I think ultimately how it's going to be remembered. This will kind of be a blip and all of that. Like you hope for him. At least it doesn't turn out to be the Montana to Kansas City or some of the other ones that didn't go as great.
Montana wasn't too bad in Kansas City, though.
He wasn't too bad, but you know what I mean. It wasn't.
Even Manning went to Denver and got to the Super Bowl a couple times, and he was not that good when he did that.
Yeah, didn't he win a Super Bowl in Denver?
I think his last last game, yeah. And he was horrible. He was terrible in the game. He couldn't throw the ball, and it was embarrassing to see him play like that. And he won the Super Bowl, but it was not because of him.
Yeah.
So anyway, so lots of people in the chat. Ray will ask you again, what things are you doing to stay sane? As I talked about, I'm just trying to play some games and walk the dog. Ray, I know you said you were tinkering around with some of the trains over there, right?
Oh yeah, I've got so I've started myself a layout in the basement, and I don't have a ton of room for it and do what I want, but it's an HO scale layout. It runs it would run about 3 people being able to operate it at the same time. But it's still early in the process. I've got some good amount of track laid, and then I've got my engines that I'm playing with. And, we were talking the other night about digital command control and all the electronics that go into them and so on. So I've been playing around with that as well, and, tinkering away. And, I'll tell you, I'm set up. If you want to lock me in my basement for 3 weeks, I'm ready to go. I got plenty of supply. I got ready to, there's plenty of food upstairs. So there's plenty to do on that. So yeah, I've been playing with the model railroad stuff, and I've got the Xbox here. I've been playing with that a little bit. And of course I got a young family as well. So they keep me busy too. So yeah, it's you find things to keep it going. And and as far as my role, the commissioner down here for our league, the ECRHL, I'm still doing planning for it. Been doing a couple things for that. So as much as we're still on that level of uncertainty about starting our season, I'm still planning and moving forward. So there's definitely plenty of things to do, and kind of bouncing between all of it. So.
Yeah, they like I say, they closed the malls up here today now, and it's just, boy, I tell you. So, as long as they keep the food stores open and even the restaurants for takeout, because I know that's not what the restaurants want to do, but I was talking to my friend Ron up there in Vermont today, and he's just like, once or twice a week, you gotta order out. You can't just be eating the canned food and what's in, the ration supplies. You gotta have something nice once in a while. So, they've been doing a takeout once a week. I know we did pizza the other day. It's like, you just want to kind of have something. So I just hope they don't get too crazy out there.
But, no, and you hope for it. There's some things you wonder if it's a little bit of infringement, where they're closing some things, and they are erring on the side of caution. And hey, it doesn't matter which way you can look at it in a bunch of different ways. Ultimately, it's just trying to keep people healthy and safe and whatnot. And I can understand that, but as part of us being Americans too, there is a risk to it. And, the freedoms that we have come with a risk, and that's part of it too. So it is a delicate balance, and it's not easy, that's for sure. And then, you question you just hope that what you really hope for is a lot of bipartisanship. I'm struggling with the words tonight, but where they're working together and not fighting each other, and just hopefully making the right decisions together.
I've seen some of that. Believe it or not, I've actually seen some of that, and I think it's to a point now where there's no choice. This is not a point your finger at the other guy type of time. This is the time to solve this, because everyone's in jeopardy. You know what I mean? It's like the old joke about the scorpion that's riding on the turtle's back across the pond. It's like if the scorpion stabs them, they both die. Right. So it's time. This time the scorpion can't be stabbing the turtle in the back and or the neck and drowning. Because he'll drown too. So everyone's got to do this stuff here. Come together for the better. I mean, I don't know what kind of silver lining will come out of this, but maybe this will bring some people together and say, look, we got to stop this pettiness and do what's right for this country here.
Well, you know that there is an after effect, and you hope that it lasts. You know,
Yeah.
we talk about moments in our life, you know, at least in our time, and you know, you've got just a couple years on me, but you know, within our time, you know, the things that we've seen and the events that we've seen and the togetherness, and then you hope it lasts. And unfortunately, you see, you know, some of that fade away. You know, obviously 9/11 comes to, you know, to the top of the pile, and you know you start to think about that, and you know the what we did as a country to come together. But you know, and now with this, and you know, I'm not saying that this is necessarily that, but it's still an opportunity for us to reevaluate our society and see who we are as a people, and then see what we value.
Yep.
Yes.
Dale's asking in the chat room what the papers are saying about Brady up here. I don't read much of the papers. You know, I read some of the articles online. I listen to a lot of the talk shows, and no one is really mad at Brady. There are a few. There are a few people that called the shows, and a couple of the hosts on the different shows I listen to that are, Brady could have stayed if he wanted to. Well, you know, if someone offered him more money and then they treated him right and they gave him candy and flowers, and they
Yeah.
wooed him, and he could go, you know, maybe someone just treated him the right way. Maybe he saw something in Tampa, which Tampa wasn't even on the radar for anybody, really. This come out of nowhere. So he must have saw something or got something that he liked, and he's happy with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's just, you know, climate alone. You know, he'll be able to play most, you know, his home games in a little bit warmer climate. You know, there's just so many factors that go into all of, you know, these decisions that these players make on any level. You know, any sport. You know, it's not just the team. It's not just winning. There is a ton of different things that come into the equation. Where their kids are living. I know Brady's a little different. They're talking about him staying in New York, but it's a pile of different things. It's a huge decision for anybody. It's just like anybody else taking a new job.
Yep. And what did he the Carolina Panthers? That's the football team. The Panthers. They hired was it Bridgewater? Teddy Bridgewater? Bridgewater? And so I'm wondering where Cam Newton's going. I heard, maybe I don't know if I heard it right or wrong, that Cam Newton actually shot his way out of town. You know, and so he's not with the Panthers, but I mean, just his name will get him signed somewhere. But
Right.
he was not well liked after losing that Super Bowl. He really unraveled. He really did.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see where a bunch of these land, and then you know all this being done in the question mark of even playing is the odd part too. You know, it's, you know, the draft, and is that going to go on as scheduled? Is this going to happen? Then you got all these free agents in the mix, and a whole level of uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting to follow.
So
I
I want
know you
to.
think they should have held on to Bledsoe, but you know,
I have to admit it. When that happened and Bledsoe came back, I was like, Brady played in the playoff game and he twisted his ankle in Pittsburgh, and it was going into the Super Bowl. It's like, who's going to be the quarterback? I said, you got to go back to Bledsoe. He's healthy. He's the guy that brought you this far. Brady filled in, but he twisted his ankle, and they went with Brady in the Super Bowl. It's like, no. You stay with Bledsoe.
yeah.
I was
Well, it's a
wrong.
good
I was
thing
so
Belichick
wrong.
didn't take your call, huh?
In an alternate universe, if Belichick had called me up and says, what do you think, Dave?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, you got to go Bledsoe. Then maybe this whole thing never happens.
Yeah, that'd be the only banner hanging up, the one right behind you. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of crazy. But I just want to give out a shout out to Kenny here, who's in the chat room. I've been trying to hook up with him and play a game of Hockey Blast. It's a tabletop hockey game. We haven't been able to connect, and now it looks like it's going to be a lot longer before we do get to connect. But I was supposed to play my hockey project with a 72 Team Canada versus Team Russia that I was doing tonight. I was going to play a whole bunch of different games, but I set up the first game, and it's a game I really like, and I can play the game in about 20 minutes, an entire game. And I decided that instead of playing all the different games, I was just going to play the whole 8-game series with this one. So, Ken, I was going to break out the Hockey Blast, but I think I'm going to stick with the Hockey Shootout game for right now, and run the series with that. And I'll pick up Hockey Blast at some point. And let's see, Ruppy says he named his first son after him. Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. And the other one I think is the kicker. So he's got Drew and Adam.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yep. And Dale asks, can Brady win in Tampa Bay? He absolutely can. He can not can he can win in Tampa Bay. I don't know. I mean, the NFC is kind of weak. I mean, it was in a tough division, but Atlanta's kind of been bad lately, so they got to worry about New Orleans. But their quarterback's getting old too, so that's going to be a fun division to watch. It really is. So they supposedly Ron said that they got Gurley from LA, who's supposed to be a really good running back. So Tampa Bay might be loading up. Maybe Brady sat down with him and they said, here's our plan. And Brady said, I like that plan. I was hoping he'd go to Vegas, to go to the Raiders, play with the Raiders, the team that he had the tuck rule against, playing in the brand new stadium in Vegas, opening the stadium in 2020 in Vegas with Tom Brady, your quarterback. To me, that would have been great. I was like, I'd be okay with that. That would have been a spectacle.
Well, now he's got a marketing greatness with TV and TV and
TV. And, I wonder how much this come into play. The Super Bowl this year is in Tampa Bay.
Well, he guaranteed himself to play there.
I wonder if,
because
I think they said no team has ever played.
That is correct.
In their home stadium when the Super Bowl was there.
Mm-hmm.
So you wonder if he'll be the first. I mean, I would hate to think that his ego says, something, the Super Bowl's in Tampa Bay. I'm going to Tampa Bay. I'm going to take them to the Super Bowl and be the first guy to ever play in his home stadium in the Super Bowl. I'd like to think it didn't come into play, but I think it did a little bit.
Maybe a smudge, maybe at
part of it was, yeah. It's kind of like when you look at something, you can't decide between two things, but one thing's like we'll give you fries with that.
I think that's the
fries.
I think it's more like they threw in a couple extra fries and make you feel good about buying the meal, kind of thing. You really think something of that magnitude, that piece of it wasn't really there. I think it was more about a lot of the other big things that you talk about, money, the money that he's going to make there. I think the climate is a factor.
Oh, he won't be in the cold. Yeah,
won't be in the cold, won't be in the snow, won't be in the.
Might have the monsoons though. You might have the monsoons.
Maybe the press pressure. Remember that Boston is a very big media market. And I think it's like number 4 or 5. So, it's very tough. It's a very tough place to play. Tampa Bay, I think they're going to give him a pass on a lot of things based on his resume. And, New England probably gave him, some, but it was still a tough place to play. And then, like you said, maybe breaking away from the Belichick way of doing things and whatnot.
But I think that was a lot of it. I think he just said, look, I just don't want to do it that way anymore.
But you look at history, that this is what they do. The Patriots are, what have you done for me lately? Kind of.
They're a weird organization like that. You're absolutely right. They've thrown away so many good players, and it's like, okay, fine. You don't want to play for this bye. And they did well for the longest time with that formula. That formula is not really working out so much anymore. The old "In Bill We Trust," that went a long way. It really did. But that Super Bowl that he yanked Butler out, the shine started to wear off a little bit. Luckily, they came back and they did win one more Super Bowl. So that kind of takes away some of that pain there. But I think going forward, it's now you let Brady go. And you let some other guy they let go, and linebacker that was pretty good they let go. So I think you're looking at a 8-8 or 9-17 this year that may or may not make the playoffs.
And all this to prove to you, one wise man once told me, your employer is not your friend, and you got to remember that. And
it's business.
You find out it is business, and Belichick and Kraft come out and say that that we love them like a son and whatnot. That's all well and good, but just remember your employer is not your friend. That it's about you and protecting yourself, and that's what you got to do, and that's what he did. He's moved on. He's going to be a Tampa Bay Buck, and I see you've already done some NFL trading and got him over there on your on Madden, and I see SI. They're quick to come out with photoshopping of the player, so you already know what it's going to look like.
I did. I went over to Matt. I think I had Madden 18, and I said I got to do this. This could be kind of fun. I don't even know if they have the schedule out yet. I'm trying to look here. I don't think they do. I mean,
there is a schedule, yeah, because they were talking about the Patriots. I don't know if it's in date order, but I think the opponents at least have been named. You're talking to the guy that's got his toes just barely touching the water when it comes to the football realm, but
see,
I've heard there should be a schedule.
All right, so here's the Tampa Bay schedule. In case Tom was asking here on the Tampa Bay schedule. So here's what the Buccaneers they open up at Atlanta. Oh gee, oh wait. Oh, the dates are to be announced. Okay, they haven't given us the date yet. But they play away games: Atlanta, Carolina, Chicago, Denver, Detroit, New Orleans, the Giants, and the Raiders. So they do go out to Las Vegas and play the Raiders. So those are the away games. So they're their own division, plus the Giants, Raiders, Lions, Broncos, and Bears. At home, they have Atlanta, Carolina, New Orleans. Those are teams in their division. Green Bay, Minnesota, Kansas City. That's going to be an unbelievable game. That's going to be a primetime game. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's like a Monday night game, the Kansas City. And that's going to be in Tampa. So you got Mahomes coming to play Brady in Tampa. And then they wrap up Chargers and the Rams is what they got. So there's nothing really here on the Tampa Bay schedule that's jumping out at me that's like, oh, this is so wonderful. But in case you're wondering, that's what the schedule is for Tampa Bay this year.
Yeah, it's funny, of course, no return to New England in that schedule, and would it be amazing, especially nowadays? It seems like that even in many sports now, we see it in hockey, and it probably would have happened in football. How much more sentimental they are about players coming back. They never used to make such a huge deal about former players coming back to, the team they've been either traded from or left in free agency or whatnot. And now it's, everybody gets a video tribute. Everybody gets the standing O. Everybody, it seems like that's kind of imagine what it would have looked like for Tom Brady to walk back into New England in a different uniform. That would have been something.
Yeah, Tampa Bay was my favorite childhood team. I got the pennant right there. I got my Buccaneers pennant up there. I have my Buccaneers hat I wore the other night on the show. I still got Buccaneers, everything. I still like the Buccaneers. So if they went back to the orange jerseys, that would be complete. That would complete it for me. Brady in the orange jerseys, that would be absolutely phenomenal. In case you're wondering who the Patriots
orange, yeah.
In case you're wondering who the Patriots play this year, aside from the Bills, Dolphins, and the Jets, they go to Houston, they go to Kansas City, which probably is going to be Kansas City wiping the floor with them. They go to the Chargers, they go to the Rams, and so that's their road games. And then at home, they have Denver, they have the Raiders at home, the Cardinals, 49ers. Boy, that would have been fun. Jimmy G and Tommy B, but so that's messed up now. And then the Ravens, and then they actually go to Seattle as well. So they go to Seattle. Their schedule, they got a tough schedule. Boy, they might not even go 500. If Buffalo's improved, they're picking Buffalo to win the division. They're going to play the Texans and the Chiefs, which are two solid teams. They're going to play them on. They're going to go to Seattle, which they're going to get destroyed. San Francisco's coming here. San Francisco's a Super Bowl team. And the Raiders, you never know how the Raiders and the Broncos going to be. So this is going to be a real tough year for the New England Patriots. So people buckle up and plan on it. That we're not gonna come out of the gate 8-0, 9-0, 10-0.
Mm-hmm.
And Flynn, I did get your message about downloading that game. I'll have to check that out later. Is that a shooter game that Call of Duty you said there? Is that a new mode? Is that a what is that? Let me know what that is, because I'd like to know what kind of game that is. I haven't played a Call of Duty in quite some time. I'm not that good. Tom asks, who will be the Pats QB? That's what we want to know. Is there anybody here that can play quarterback?
Is Steve Grogan still available? Is he out there somewhere?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know who's going to be the quarterback in New England. It's, yeah.
Open tryout.
What is it? I don't know who the kid is. Is it Stidman or something? There's some guy that's on the team that he played like all of 5 snaps last year and is absolutely terrible. In fact, he tried to go in. It was the Pats were blowing out somebody last year, and they sent him in, and he got picked off, and he got sacked, and they had to put Brady back in to try to save the game because this guy was just so terrible. So who knows? Bill might have a plan. He might have a plan.
Yeah, and Bill we trust. We'll see how that fans out this year.
Yeah,
no, they can't be all winners.
No, you can't.
And Pat's had a drought for quite a while. You look at those banners; there were some gaps there. They weren't all lined up.
Oh man,
Kaepernick.
they would have if the Patriots would take Kaepernick and put him in a Patriots uniform. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Yeah, the thing is he's not that good. He keeps saying that teams don't want to hire me because I'm whatever that is. But realistically, you're not that good, and you've been out of the league for a few years. So it's like, go to Canada, play a few years in Canada, show what you still got, play in the XFL, do something. Instead of running around telling us how good you are, go do something. Maybe they don't want you for that.
Yeah. You think XFL, you think he would have been, just play to show, what he's got.
You would think, yeah, instead of sitting there, just sitting in his backyard crying about it, just go out and go play somewhere. If you're that good, somebody will pick you up. Arena football, something. There's leagues out there you can play in, so you can keep playing, so we can, show how good you are. Have somebody say, boy, yep, he's still got it. But he doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be in Foxborough this fall.
Boy, I hope not. But I've already heard some people turning in their season tickets. I do. Yeah. I've heard some people saying that they're not going to renew the season tickets, or I don't know if they had to for this year or not, or what the deal is. But whether it's this year or next year, but there's been some people that are like, "Yep, we're done."
Well, in the world of salary cap, you exceeded expectation, right? And that's how I guess you got to look at it. And then if you move on from it, and
they have they have so much cap space now that Brady's out. I mean, they could literally hire a second team because of what they're saving with him. It's really and the other guy left. It's unbelievable. There's a funny story. I tell this story all the time. Back in the 90s, I want to say it was 90 or 91, Patriots were terrible, right? They were 1-15, 2-14. They were a bad team for a couple of years. Rod Rust, think Rod Rust years, okay? Think the years that they were supposed to go to Hartford, I think. It was a bad time for Patriots weren't always Super Bowl champs. I know for the last 20 years they were, but when I was growing up, they were bad. And there's a funny story somebody said on the radio one day that it was the last game of the season, and the Patriots are playing at home, I think against the Cardinals or something like that. And it was a meaningless game. They had one win, maybe 2 wins. And so he took a pair of Patriots tickets and he put them on his windshield wiper and he went into the mall, right? He's like, I'm not going to the game Sunday. So he put them on the windshield wipers. You want to go to the game, So he puts these tickets on the windshield wiper and he goes into the mall.
Yeah.
What do you think he found when he come out?
Yeah, probably his tickets. Yeah.
2 more tickets.
No, there you go.
I love that story. I do. He comes out. He said, "Now what? I got 4 tickets now for the game."
Yeah, it's funny. You touched on a piece of Patriots history that here in Connecticut. When that whole promise of them coming to Hartford and how crazy that was, and it was right at the time I was in. I actually went to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting, as you know. We talked about that a little bit, and one of the instructors was a guy named Sebastian. He was a morning guy on the rock station in Hartford, and a pretty, very avid sports guy as well. In fact, I think he got thrown in jail for sports gambling or something like that, but later on. But anyway, he was telling us, and the whole thing started talking Adrian's Landing and the Patriots build a stadium. Then he's got Kraft with John Rowland, the governor at the time, and this whole thing's going to go down. They're thinking the Patriots are moving to Hartford. We all come into the classroom, kind of the chatter and whatnot before the class starts, and he just looks at all of us and he says, "Hey, listen," he goes, "What's the number one media market in the United States?" Because New York. Who's number two? L.A. Who's number 3, 4, whatever it was? Boston. He goes, "Where do you think Hartford ranks?" And he's like, "Yeah, 50 something." He goes, "Let me tell you something. Mark my words, Patriots are not coming here at the end. Yeah, it was never going to happen." And
Well, what
he
you
had
got to
it
think though,
exactly right.
they were such a bad team, and you never thought this would happen. How many other franchises have moved? I mean, they took the Cardinals out of St. Louis for crying out loud. St. Louis. Right. St. Louis is a decent sized market. I mean, it's not Boston or New York or LA or Chicago, but it's not Hartford. And they took a team out of there and they put them in was it Arizona or something like that. I mean, that's nuts.
Right. Yep.
And then LA didn't have a team for years. LA didn't have a football team. Yeah. Now they got what, 6 of them. Everybody went back to LA. They're all playing in the same, they're playing, the same arena. I don't even know how they do it. I think they're playing at the same time. There's 4 teams in there all playing. I don't know. But they do it now.
Well, I'm not expert in what Phoenix looks like or wherever Arizona's playing at it now, Tempe, wherever. But what I can tell you about Hartford, it just was never going to work. Here's 1 year after the Whalers left Hartford, they were talking about bringing the Patriots here. We couldn't support the Whalers.
They couldn't have a hockey team, yeah.
Yeah, and then which was in an arena, the old mall, the Hartford Civic Center. Yeah, and then you couldn't support that and fill that, but then you're going to bring a football team. It was just it was the farce of all. We were played as the pawn to leverage the Commonwealth to put up money for him. And
well, you're not the first, first city that's ever been used as a pawn.
It's just it's being a pawn, but having not only the worm but the whole hook and half the line in your mouth.
It seemed pretty serious. Up here, it seemed pretty serious. It really did.
Right. Yeah.
And so, but they didn't go. Interesting note about that. The football field down there in Arizona. I watched a show on that one time, and I think I could be very, very wrong, but what I gathered when I watched the show, so it's a stadium, right, in Arizona. The field rolls out.
Yep, it's natural. It's a natural turf.
It's a natural grass field, but it's on a track of some kind, and they roll it out of the stadium into the parking lot. And I don't know if that's where they treat it or they do whatever, and maybe they get sun or whatever they get, and then they roll it back in for the game. And it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. And I don't know if they still do that, but I mean, I saw an illustration of it. I was like, here's how it's done, and then this rolls out, and then the grass rolls. I don't know why you would do that, but
they were doing it to keep that natural field. And
the only thing I can think of is maybe they have another field underneath that for concerts or something, maybe, and so they don't want to ruin the grass. I don't know why you would do that.
Well, I think it's domed, so it's interesting nonetheless. Yeah.
So Flynn asks, let's talk about the NHLPA's proposed schedule. I saw that they had something, but I didn't see what it was. Let me see if I can call that up here. Ray, did you see that?
I have not seen that. I heard something. What are they talking about? Give us a little info there, Flynn. You could take a look at that.
So let's see here. They've been kicking around the idea of this idea in August. I don't know. I'm trying to read this real quick here. What they wanted to do. So I know that they had proposed something. Oh, it said it was rejected. But that could be an old. I'm just trying to see if there's anything here. They plan to resume regular season and playoffs, but a balanced schedule with 60 games in 2021. Oh, I see. Oh, 1-16 playoff format. Oh, I like that. I always like the 1-16 format. So it looks like they want to finish out this season. with a condensed schedule. So,
Right.
so let me see. They propose opening training camp to some point in July, so they want to really wait a few months. Play the regular season games, potentially enough to format the playoffs. Um, Start in August, have the Stanley Cup award in September, and then have a month off before they start free agency in October, and then start an 82 game regular season. Instead of that, be a condensed schedule. Boy, that is really something else there. You know,
Yeah, it's
so they want to
well,
wait until
again,
July. So they want to let this thing blow over into July now. Play out the season in July and August. Have the Stanley Cup Finals in September. Take a month off. Start the ball rolling in October and play what a 62 game schedule instead of 80 game schedule. So whatever what happens is going to impact next year. That's for sure.
it's going to impact a whole lot of things. You think about what happens in September if the baseball season gets underway and what baseball does. So now you're conflicting with, you've got competing sports going on. You've got baseball. You've got who knows what the NBA is going to do, and they're trying to finish up. So you've got a whole bunch of things just one competing with each other in a potential downturn recession of the economy. You've got a whole bunch of different factors to play into that. Is it going to be a question of TV coverage, ratings? Are they going to get anything out of this? Are they better off,
It's going to be
you
tough
know,
to play hockey in July and August in some of the
ice
arenas.
conditions? Ice
Yeah.
conditions.
I
You know,
hope they don't wait that long. I
yeah,
mean, I'm hearing that like Mother's Day in May, it was kind of a target date to start get ramping things up. So I'm kind of hoping that this thing kind of concludes because that's 60 days or less. So I'm kind of hoping that's enough for this thing to pass to a point we feel comfortable. But if they're
and
not
it gets
talking till like training camps in July and then seasons in August and then playoffs in September, boy, that's a ways out.
well, even with the potential that you start up in May, it may still be without fans. They still may be at a point where they're still not, although they may be ready for players, they may not be ready for fans in large crowd gatherings. You talk about how they boiled this back. Remember, we went from 500 to 250 to 10 within like 5 days. It seems it's going to take a long time before people are going to be okay with, all right, sell out the TD or sell out MSG at 18,000 plus and put all these people back
Yeah, but
together.
I
I
think
really think it's going to take a long time
it
to
might,
get
but you
to a
know
point of
something?
comfort.
I mean, that we're only in a handful of days here. I can only imagine in a couple of months, people are going to be dying to go to a game. People are going to be
Mhm.
dying to go and get back to a normal life of some kind.
People
And
are dying after 3 days. It's yeah, no doubt. Yeah,
so, yeah, so I just, I think people are going to want to push this as quick as they can. I don't think they're going to want to wait till July. And, obviously no one wants to get sick, but I think that, at some point it's like, hey,
yeah,
we need to go do this, and we'll find out more as time goes by. We'll find
sure.
out more and more because the crazy thing is they say, oh well, this is infected and that's infected and that's infected and this guy has it,
Hmm.
but it's not like it's a death sentence when you get it
No,
either. And I'm not
no,
trying to downplay anybody that has it, that has died or got really sick, but it's not an instant death. That's
right.
the thing. And unless you're in your 80s, which is, I'd say that what they say, the average age is 81 or 82 of people that have died from this. So,
Right.
yes, there are people at risk, but I mean, if you're 30, 40 years old or 20 years old, you might have it, not even know it, and be fine, and just that's it. It might be
Yeah.
nothing more than a cold or something like that in worst case. So I think as we learn more about it and people get comfortable and in the whole bit, hopefully that'll change.
Well, the part is, and that's all well and good. 18, 20, 22, 23-year-old has it, and they go to the TD and they sit next to somebody that's 63, 64 years old. That's the question. And
Oh yeah,
again,
but I think it's
where the comfort level is going to
right.
be in
But
May or June or July,
well, I
again,
would
we
like
don't
to
know.
think I would like to think that if you are
Right.
in that risk, and I know that
Yeah.
my wife has some respiratory problems that she's got to go have investigated, completely unrelated to this virus thing, but just so she would be, excuse me, she would be more apt to say, look, I'm not going to go hang out in these crowds right now because I don't want it. I know I don't want, I'm at a risk for getting sicker. I don't think she would die, but I think she would be absolutely miserable, and she may need to be hospitalized to get through it.
Right.
But I mean, I'd like to think that if you're that 63-year-old or 70-year-old guy that's at risk, that you would probably hold off on going out into public, whereas everybody else could. It's like anything else.
Right. But so as much as you hope they would, what you don't want them to do is go out and do it, and then that person takes it and carries it to somebody else that didn't even go to the game. It's very tricky. It's just very tricky. It's not just the carrier, it's the 2, 3, 4 down the line. We just had another case here in Connecticut. They reported in Tolland County. It's a nursing home in Stafford Springs. And, for a little geography in Connecticut, if you think about, the little tail down on the left-hand side, that's Fairfield County down by New York City. That's had the highest amount of infection. Then you've had some in New Haven County, just outside of Fairfield. You've had a couple in Litchfield, and you can kind of see it moving across the bit and a little bit in Hartford County. But then, boom, way up in Stafford Springs, if you're familiar with I-84, you go through, the Stafford area. If you're going from Hartford to Boston, all in a nursing home or assisted living home, there's a case.
Yeah.
How did it get into a retirement home in Stafford Springs? And again, kind of off the tangent, but really on the point of when are they going to feel comfortable opening these buildings to the general public that they don't know? Then that's just the big question. We don't know. So I just have a feeling, my gut, I'm guessing just as much as everybody's speculating this week, including the people down on Wall Street, that we don't know. But I have a feeling that if anything's going to come back, it's probably going to be done without fans, at least for the beginning period of it. You may not see fans in the building, which would be, at least you'll have broadcast. At least we'll have something to watch on TV other than, some old highlights and, me rewatching the 94 Stanley Cup run over and over and over because that's all I've got. So,
yeah. Well, like I said, what we need to do is we need to see some numbers come out, some better numbers, get some confidence. People need to get confident. They need to see the long term of what's going on with this virus and how it affects people and how they can recover. And right now it's a panic mode because this is all new. It's kind of crazy. So, but anyway, so we're gonna wrap things up here. Just wanted to get on and chat a little bit on a Wednesday night. Just kind of touch base with everybody. Thanks to everybody that jumped in here and chat on Facebook and on YouTube. Just kind of keeping things real. Just trying to keep everybody a little bit sane, keep us sane too by chatting away here. And Flynn they could play all the games out of one central arena. Maybe some of the regular season games they could, maybe some playoffs, but and it makes some sense here. Less travel, one clean source.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if that I again don't know. Well, let's preface that, don't know. When the building sits idle for so long, as long as nobody's in it, if the virus was in it, it died because it can only last so long on surfaces. Even if it's 5 days, if the building's been empty or not used for 15, 20, 25, 30 days, who knows? But yeah, I don't know. Again, this is all uncharted territory, and what you hope you don't see on there is another stamp like 1919, no season played. You really hope that that's not what you see.
Well, and that's the crazy thing. You look back over history, and it's like, holy cow! It's like the last time they didn't play, it was it was either a strike, but the flu or some epidemic, and you look back, boy, that's way back there. That had never happened to us. And here, in 2020, and we're shutting down, and all the minor leagues are down. AHL, ECHL, all the kids stopped playing. I know my neighbor's kids are in the playoffs, and they're like, we don't know what we're gonna do.
Right. We don't know what we're gonna do. I know you and I talk, quite often, sometimes on a daily basis lately, and you've got your, the league up in Eastern Mass. You're dependent upon the building making decisions. I'm dependent upon the town government making decisions. And no matter how deep you dig, the both come back with the same answer. Again, I don't know. And I'd love to see my guys start. We are supposed to be aiming for April 5th. I haven't really made a call yet because I'm holding out hope. But man, the calendar is showing me the 18th, and I'm not seeing much for that. But and I know you're in a holding pattern with a wait and see, and we're a wait and see, and it makes it difficult because you want to be able to provide answers, and we don't have them. They don't have them. The top of the food chain doesn't have them. So yeah, we're just wait and see.
Yeah, well, like I said, April 5th is what, a couple weeks away, 3 weeks away, maybe. So,
Right. Yeah.
um, so yeah, so that would be kind of tough to do, and we're taking it week by week up here, which is I think the smart thing to do because we got small leagues that we run, so technically we could run the small gatherings if we felt safe. Some people flat out said they're not going to play, and that's fine, and other people said that they're dying to play.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do here? So I was kind of hoping to take a week or two off just to let things see how they play out. That's
Right.
what I was hoping to do with my league, but as it is, it might be a little bit longer than I just hope it doesn't turn into 2 or 3 months. A couple of weeks, 30 days maybe. Then I'm kind of hoping we can start to bring life back into the place. But
if we get more cooperation, if you get the full cooperation of people to be able to do what we've been asked to do, social distancing, remove the unnecessary contact, remove unnecessary travel. You hope that people do all these things and are vigilant and wash your hands and all the things you learned in kindergarten. You hope that, with all those effects that we can make this a lot quicker. And then you turn on the TV and you see what's going on in Florida, and you see some other places that it just did the complete disregard. So you try to hold out hope, but I'm not sure where we're going to end up.
So I'm just trying to keep myself busy. If you've seen any of my Facebook feeds or even on my YouTube feeds, I've been doing my hockey broadcasting using one of the computer games I have here, Ray. It's called Action PC Hockey, and it's got a hockey rink, and the guys kind of jump around on a little chalkboard, and then there's a play-by-play box, and I broadcast it like it's a normal game. I've been doing some NHL games. I did the 1983 Game 7 between Buffalo and Boston. I did that last Friday night. Let's see, I've done some of my own league. I put all the guys. In fact, you were in one of the games. I took all the guys in my league and I renamed all the players. I think I took the 87 season and I renamed a lot of the players in that league with guys from the Eastern Mass Roller Hockey League and played a game with them. And I think I played a couple of doubleheader. I think I did. And I just keep rotating the goalies and playing the players, and we're having a lot of fun broadcasting that using the players' names that are in the league. And, I think you were in there as well in one of the games.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you what, it's fun on our side too. And, it's good to see other content and, for you, appreciate it. And I've been throwing some of my own other stuff that I do, some videos and whatnot. I did some model railroading videos and threw them up there, and hope that it just gives everybody kind of a mental break. There's a lot of bad news and a lot of questions to read through, and it's always good to come up on something else that isn't related.
Yeah, so, I've been trying to jump on here. I've been trying to do either a game or a chat like this just to come on and say hi, give people a chance, take their mind off. Because we've been on here for 57 minutes now, so it's been about an hour that I've got to take my mind off of everything and just chat with you, chat with people in the chat room, talk about what we want to do. Kind of keeping it kind of local here and just see what everybody's up to. And check in with people that way and just take our minds off what's going on, and just because we got to kind of just hunker down and deal with it till it gets over with. So, but anyway, so we're gonna.
Ruppy dropped in. We got to see Ruppy and some comments from him. Anthony Flynn, talking about some old Ratcast days in the AIHL. It's good to see those folks pop up, and I'll have to go back and look at the chat because I didn't have that in front of me. But it'll be good to see who was able to stop by and say hello.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of people on Facebook tonight, and a handful of people on YouTube there as well. I could respond from here, but it would only go to YouTube, so that's why I'm trying to read the comments and show the comments that are on Facebook. But everybody, thanks for jumping in tonight. We just jumped on for a quick hour tonight just to say hi and talk about a few things. Tom Brady, talking about things going on in the world, talking about what we're doing to keep things fun. And so so I plan on doing some more hockey games. In fact, Ray, you know what I did? The Action PC, they have a baseball game. Okay.
Excellent.
I'm not big on baseball, but the baseball game is kind of fun. It's the same kind of thing. You see the baseball field, you see the ball pitch, and then it's instead of like Madden or NHL or MLB, the show where the graphics are insane. This is more of a simulation, but you do have these little squares of the player's name and a banner. So you see the player running the bases. It's just it's a X's and O's type of thing. But some, because you know me, I like the California Golden Seals.
Yeah,
and I like the 1976 0-14 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I've always liked the bottom teams for some reason. So somebody told me, says, in the baseball game, go get the 1899 season. And I'm like, why the hell would I want to get an 1899 baseball season? I don't even like regular baseball. Why would I get something that's 121 years old? Right. And he goes, because there's a team called the Cleveland Spiders. And the Cleveland Spiders went 20 and 144.
Holy mackerel.
So he says, if you like bad teams, go get that season and play the Cleveland Spiders. So I went today. It was on sale for $7.03. And I picked up the season and installed it tonight. So at some point this week, I'll be playing some baseball and you'll be seeing the Cleveland Spiders of the 1899. It was only the National League. I think there was like 8 or 10 teams in the National League. The Cleveland Spiders.
And it was, you can figure out a way to win more than 20 games, you're doing all right with them.
And let me just tell you what the other teams were, Ray, really quick. So let me call up the and I'll tell you their records too. And I might be able to share the screen. Let me see if I can do this here. Hang on one second. I'm just loading the baseball game here. So 1899. Okay. So I'm sorry. They were 20 and 134. So my bad. Right. So let me see if I can share my screen. So I'm going to see if I can go to the baseball game here. So I don't know if you can see that on the screen or not. Can you see that?
I can see it. Yep, I can see it.
All right. So that's the baseball game. Okay. So if you look over here on the left, see Cleveland at the bottom, 20 and 100. There were only 84 games out of first place. And so you got the Brooklyn team. And I just want to see if so there's the standings, team reports, and I'll tell you. So it's the I want to see if I can get the name. Like Boston was the Bean Eaters, I think. It was okay. So here are the teams: the Baltimore Orioles, the Boston Bean Eaters, okay, the Brooklyn Super Bars. Super BAS, Super Bass, Super Bars. I don't even know. The Chicago Orphans. Okay, that was the name of the team.
That's
tough. Cincinnati Reds, the Cleveland Spiders, the Louisville Colonels, the New York Giants, the Philadelphia Phillies, the Pittsburgh Pirates, the St. Louis Perfectos. The St. Louis Perfectos and the Washington Senators. Those were the teams in the league. And Brooklyn obviously won it 101 games. I don't know who won the whole thing, but Brooklyn was the best team. They can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 12 teams. But so I'm going to play in 1899, the Cleveland Spiders. I'm going to play the Bean Eaters and their Perfectos.
There you go.
Let's
note that the Perfectos were 84 and 67. So I don't think they were very perfecto, were they?
But that's going to be fun. I know nothing about this league. I don't know anybody on the team, but I guess I'll get to know a lot of the Spiders. I think my friend said they gave up like 6 or 7 runs a game, just, and I think I looked online, I Googled the team, and they played a lot of the other teams. I think they played 14 games against the other teams or something like that. And they were 0-14 against one of the teams. There's some teams they just didn't beat. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But so I'm going to play 1899 baseball. How funny is that?
You're going to give us something to watch for sure.
I am. And I did a handful of baseball games broadcasting, but I'm not very good with baseball. So I'll probably make it fun. I'll make it fun.
You got to learn how to fill. That's I guess baseball. Baseball's a lot of fill.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is because some people say, "How do you broadcast hockey? It's so fast." And I'm like, "How do you broadcast baseball? It's so slow." With hockey, there's always something to talk about at the rink. This and this and this, and it is hard to keep up with. But I got a knack for it, and I enjoy it, and I keep up the best I can. Right. But when I did baseball games, it's like, man, I can't fill all that space.
Well, you listen to a baseball game, you get you do hear dead air. even the best of the professionals of baseball broadcasting, there's inevitable dead air, and
Well,
it's
what
tough
happens? You,
to.
you get into like the dead of summer, and you got a really boring game at night, and it's like, here's
Yeah.
the pitch, ball one. And
Yeah.
Joe, the first baseman, his grandmother's at the ballpark tonight. And she brought in the best clam chowder you'll ever had. Here's the pitch, fouls that off 1-1.
Right.
And this clam chowder, I tell you, it had the thickest potatoes, and they go off about everything. And I was like, man, I can't do that. I tried to do it a couple of times. Like, man, I had a tough time with that. I did.
And then you got to bring in all the odd stats, like he's 83-4 when the barometric pressure is over 30 millibars.
Yeah. Night games in the state of Ohio, if he's facing a lefty batter, it's like
with a full moon, and
if the full moon's out,
you just got to start writing out. We'll just list the statistics, and that'll be your filler.
Yeah, no
pitches.
The only thing I would say though is I was right behind the plate. And I was really close too. I was really close. That's how the stadium is set up. And I don't know anything about baseball or pitches, but I could see the ball curve. So I knew when the guy threw a curve. That's the only. That's like, and I could say, oh, that's a curveball strike, or that was a fastball. But I was either curveball or fastball. I couldn't tell you what a slider was, or a fork ball, or bean ball, or I don't know, gumball. I don't know. But I could see the curveball, and that's all I knew. So I don't think I want to do baseball, but they asked me to do it, and I did it. Football is fun. I did the high school football for a handful of years, and that was fun. It's tough because it's a lot of runs up the middle, and sometimes you don't know who has the ball, and the fields are dark, so when they throw the ball away from you, especially on either end, so you're at the 50-yard line, if they throw the ball to the other side of the field, or like around the 5-yard line or so, or the goal line, you don't.
Especially
it's so
with
dark.
High school lighting,
you don't see anything over there. And the pass is you're looking for a signal,
Yeah.
So it's a fun time. But anyway, all right, we're going to wrap things up here. Thank you so much for everybody that came in and chatted with us here on this Wednesday night. I'm going to go off and I don't know what I'm going to do tonight. I might do some of my jigsaw puzzles, Ray. I enjoy doing my jigsaw puzzles and post those pictures up on Facebook. Either that or I get so I let me just tell you about my games real quick before we go. I did 2 hockey games. I did the 72 Summit Series using this game called Shootout Hockey. And the first game, Russia, they were cruising. Russia went up 6-1 over Canada. I took Dryden out and put in Esposito because they were just scoring left and right on Dryden. And this type of game, though, it's kind of weird is that the goalie really doesn't factor in too much into this. It's more just the roll of the dice, and it's a very offensive generated game. So you roll the dice, it's either a goal or it's not. The goalie factors in once in a while on a save or a rebound or something like that, but a lot of times it's goal or no goal. So they went up 6-1, and the Russians hung on for a 6-4 to win. So come back in game 2, Russians go up 2-1, but Canada comes back to win that one 6-4. So I got a pair of 6-4 games. They each won one. So I'm compiling my stats right now. I think it was Henderson who had the game winner in game 8 out there, had the game winning goal here in game 2 for Canada. So fun times here playing this. And Brad Park had a goal, and guys like that. No, Park had the game winner, I think. Park made it 5-3, so that was a game winner. So fun time here playing this game. So I'm going to compile my stats and put those up there, and that's what I do. Report on my games that I play. Have some fun with them.
Keeping yourself sane. That's what
I'm about. Yeah, I do. I take my mind off things. I walk my dog, and I do this, and and so that's what I do. So anyway, all right. We're going to really sign off this time. Ray, thanks for coming on, buddy. Okay.
All right. Thanks for having me, Dave. Good talking to you.
All right. Talk to everybody later. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care.
Ray, hang on a sec.